Okay, first question. What is the difference between starseed children and indigo children?
I don't know. Is that too short?
Yes, then we go to the next one.
No, because someone else might have to answer. And then I will say why I don't know. Heeft iemand anders een antwoord?
Ik heb wel een gok. We should do it in English, I guess, huh?
Probably.
I mean, could it be that they're essentially the same, or just a different name for the same thing, or that it's vague anyway what it is?
Oh, it's not fake. Okay, we will leave that for discussion time because this is my personal opinion. This is not sort of things that came through knowing. The difference between starseed and indigo children is much smaller. The thing is with starseeds supposedly were especially designed to do something here on this earth. So some people would describe me as a starseed. Other people say the indigo children went through an evolutionary process. For me, it's all the same. I will give a comparison. Some people say aliens. Some people say intelligent beings. Some people say entities. I say they're all the same. There are nuances, but it's not a big deal, folks. If you are, you are. And if you're not, you're not. So I really also have an issue with labels because the minute that people get labeled, they sort of develop a new identity. What I've seen people do is look up all little qualities that they have inside themselves to confirm and verify that label. While you are in an organic body, it's best to consider yourself human, some developed, some less developed, some more developed. Don't separate. So a very long answer for something that really should be very short. They are the same for me, but many people will differ in the origins. Okay.
Okay.
Isn't it that the people get stuck in their role? That when we call them indigo child or starseed child, that they can connect with their new identity, and that's the reason why they can't maybe look further, broader, you know?
Yeah.
So they got stuck. They get stuck.
Not everyone, but people tend to then try to fulfill the description instead of, hi Marita, instead of looking and using that as a sort of starting point to answer questions of themselves. They use it as a reason for why they are. For instance, there was 20 years ago, people started talking about being very sensitive, highly sensitive. In Dutch, hoogsensitive. Okay, so then you have these children. They starseed children, or they wanted to label their children indigo children, and non-hoogsensitive. So instead of looking at the basis, they're using the labels and the titles as a reason to explain behavior, which then grows into using it as an excuse. So I tend to stay away from those. We're all people here. Again, what do you do with what you are? It's fine to use it to look for answers in yourself, why you pick things up. But it's not fine when you find yourself either keeping children stuck, and I'm specifically talking about children, that children are the biggest reason why I pulled back from all that, where parents keep their children stuck in that identity. So you see? Yeah, you don't want to get stuck. You can use it as a starting point to look for explanations, but don't use it as a reason for being the way you are or the way you behave. There, the way you are is fine. The way you behave. Don't use anything for a reason for a behavioral stagnation. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
Thanks, Patricia.
Were humans the creation of one species, or is it like the Starseeds children are created by a different species, or are we created by a collaboration of species?
You mean today's humans? Today's humans, it's all of the above. Oh, sorry. Today's humans are all of the above. If you're going to go to the original organic body, that was just created. But after that, departments came and they sort of made adjustments. Some of the adjustments are extreme, but the most problematic ones are the ones that involve programming. Okay, and the programming is not necessarily, you could imagine it to be like the computer, but it's, of course it's not, because it's all organic. So yes, other beings intervened, then there were collaborations, and even now, oh, I wasn't going to talk about that, but I guess I will. There have been conferences in the unseen world with various groups. There is a conference being planned that will attempt to have quite a few numbers of the unseen departments come to a reasonable agreement. You might call it an outrageously big Geneva Convention. Yeah, there's a conference. I didn't tell you about that yet. Oh, I forgot.
Will they be known to more humans, to humanity?
Anybody that functions similar to me probably already knows. But in this particular meeting, no other human beings have been invited. But I'm sure there are other conferences, because I know of at least 2 other people who are aware that these are happening. And one person says that he is involved. Well, there's more people, but well, okay, 2. I tend to wait to mention things if I've met the person in person or online and I know them.
Are you invited, Inge?
Yeah. I successfully declined to a whole bunch of them, but apparently time is such that it's not right. We all have to do what we can do.
Just to be clear, you're talking about a non-physical meeting.
Yes. No, it is physical because it's still in the world of form. It's just not visible.
It's offline, but then a special line.
Yes.
What is the purpose of those meetings, Inge?
Okay, let me just check to see how far I can go into that.
Is it like United Nations to keep the peace, or?
There is a desire to form something similar to the United Nations. It's not in place yet. There was something similar in place, but it sort of fell apart. So now there is something being formed that will include more departments and more consequences. Before that sort of union, the consequences, when it didn't quite work, the earth had to carry a lot of the consequences. Now the departments themselves are going to be feeling the consequences. They're more real. Why are they more real? They always were real, but more people are able to sense it. So therefore, it becomes more real in the three-dimensional world.
They have also the responsibility for self. They have to address that.
Yes. And some departments don't even know what responsibility for self is. So it's quite complex.
Yeah, but it's also so above, so on Earth, not everybody knows responsibility for self, what it means, what it is. Never heard of it.
Yeah. But if it's not included in your makeup, then something has to happen so that the person or being can experience like emotions. If your brain is not set up to feel emotions, it's very difficult to have a person who has something that is incomplete in their brain to feel emotions or regret or guilt or empathy. You could see this if you take a look at conversations with psychopaths. You will see similar. Did that help, Devon? Or not?
You're
Went
muted.
mute.
So.
Yeah.
If there's anything more specific about this particular topic, because it's so important, I will go deeper. Unless everybody is okay with this for now, then we'll move on. We will revisit this again, I'm very sure, because many people are going to start noticing different frequencies flowing around them, flowing through them, pressure, a feeling of unsettledness without anything visible happening.
I did receive some information. There was in one of the spaceships outside of Earth, there was a conflict, and some of the beings had to die because they infiltrated in the spaceship. Has this anything to do with the conference?
No.
Okay.
It's much bigger than that.
The conference is much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason for the conference. It's not a single happening. It's what is, it's going to affect how things will happen and what we can look forward to in the near future. Yeah, you're talking about a single incident. This is not about only a single incident.
No, that's also not a part of the total of the that the conference, that the new conference is planned. There, there were a lot of small things that all came together.
Yeah. Yep. And I said there have been meetings before, there have been conferences, there have been like introductions, but the number of departments that are involved, the numbers are quite a bit larger and the different combinations.
How many are involved?
How many want to sit at the table, or how many are going to be allowed to sit at the table?
Both.
Yeah, I have to count. Well, they're going to try to seat like 25, but a whole lot of beings, there's no seats at the table for this particular conference. So they're gonna have to wait. So that's quite a few. Which is very interesting because we know that beings can also have different languages. So they haven't told me yet how they're going to have one language for 25. 25 of those kind of beings and then one of me. Okay. What?
There was a question sent in.
Oh, in the chat.
Yes, if they are allowed to know, do you know from which departments certain people have influences or are part of or have ingredients of?
From our group?
Yes.
They're not allowed to know.
That was the question. If they were allowed to know.
Because we're in a group, if there's even one who's not allowed to know, then no one's allowed to know. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Because it's not fair. And now I'm forgetting the question already. So apparently it's really, okay. It all seems so serious when it really, okay. Next question.
Do the people in the future become more aware of past lives and similar information?
Yes.
How? Why?
Well, okay. As your connection to consciousness expands, we all have agreed, right? Consciousness, the consciousness, capital C, holds all information, right? So as your connection to consciousness expands, you will see past, present, and future. People will also start being able to experience past, present, and future all at once. Don't start cheering. When this starts, it's not fun. A lot of people will end up in mental institutions that there aren't even enough mental institutions for this. They're not set up for that. It will not be fun. It will never be fun. But after this feeling of crazy, it will settle down and it'll be more normal. That is for those people who are transforming. You cannot have too great of a connection with consciousness if you are not integrating, developing, and then transforming, because otherwise your circuits will get overloaded. It's like moving into an old house. You have a house that was built 100 years ago. If it still has the ceramic sockets, don't be plugging in all this stuff that requires a lot of amperes. You will burn up your system. So no, not 8 billion people are going to be experiencing it all. But because the field is so open and there's so much activity, most people will feel an increase in at least one area. And past life, a lot of people like that. Question is, whose past life are you experiencing? Because if we're all one, you're experiencing your past life, even if it wasn't your organic body that was ever involved. So yeah.
But your
What
organic
about the
body,
future?
uh,
What?
sorry,
That's okay. Marita?
your organic body, your 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 in now, where you're in now, can't have a past life.
Oh yes.
This body I'm in now can have a past life.
Yes, it can have a past life.
But when I die and it goes back to dust,
If you were to have children, or anything picks up the vibration that you've had in this life, it can be moved to another organic particle. This is how people pick up many other past lives, is because of the genetic memories.
yeah,
It's not all pure energetic. Okay.
yeah. Then it's the memory of this body, but this body isn't there.
No, your cells are not going to be there, but your
Yeah.
blueprint of your cells will be there.
Yes. Now I understand.
Yeah.
How long will the blueprint linger on Earth?
Which blueprint?
If you die, the blueprint of your life, so that people can pick it up as a past life.
It's not on Earth that you have to worry about. It's in consciousness. It's forever. Well, as far as we can see, forever. It becomes a part of consciousness. It will always be retrievable. It's different than the Akasha Chronicles. The Akasha Chronicles are more specific. But consciousness holds everything, every experience, every word spoken, every thought. Why word spoken? Because word spoken, the spoken word carries energy. The written word carries energy. We may not be able to translate it into a human language, but it is definitely going to remain alive as long as consciousness exists. And I'm not even going to try to see how far back or how far forward or where does consciousness begin and end. Then we can go back to the beginning and the end. An eternal cycle, as much as my brain can understand eternal. Which is, by the way, brain twister is different than infinite or non-finite. Eternal is different. Okay? Finite, sort of linear, is not spherical. Patricia, did you have something? I'm sorry, or was that the prior question?
Oh, you were talking about that we are not comfortable with our past lives, but I was thinking, what about the future? I don't think many people want to know the future, especially when it is theirs.
In fact, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised because people have this interesting arrogance. They think they can fix anything. So if they saw in their future a problem, they are actually capable of saying, well, that's not going to be my problem. It's the next door neighbor's problem. You see? Except that's when they forget the oneness. What is your neighbor's problem is in fact your problem. There are surprisingly a lot of people trying to manipulate the future. When you manipulate genetically, chromosomally, the being of an unborn child, what are you doing? You are manipulating the future. Okay? Or if you choose, I only want blue-eyed children and all brown-eyed children I don't want to keep and bring into completion, what are you doing? You're manipulating the future. They are projecting that if they have blue-eyed children, they or their children's lives will be more happy in the world. People are messing with the future all the time. People tend to do things in the present for the future, which is okay, except for you really should also be busy with the present. You should experience the present. Tomorrow never comes. When you meet tomorrow, it's already going to be today. So all you really have is this moment, but it doesn't stop people from trying. I try to grow vegetables. I try to grow flowers because tomorrow I want to enjoy it. It's very small scale, but it's the same movement. It's the same movement. Okay.
Does that quantify as artificial intelligence if we start messing with the genes, or is there a different definition of artificial intelligence that we use?
For me, it is. For most people, it is not. For most people, they will not go and look at AI unless it's something that they produced here on Earth or in outer space or in Jupiter, some metallic thing that could be very, very, very small, that is not normally found in an organic body, but it enters it and does certain things. That's what most people consider AI. Therefore, the problems with people understanding that through vaccinations, without little teeny weeny microscopic robots, you could still be strengthening the AI that's already running through our system, because we run on programs. And if there are repeat programs in our system that keep us from moving forward, for me, that's AI.
So
There's interference with the natural evolution of humans.
So AI doesn't have to be born as AI, but like a natural born entity can be made into AI.
Yeah.
That's when you don't have any input on your own
Well,
programming.
you might, but you might not be able to have input on all your programming. You see? But then we have something special in us that protects us. So if people just did more open and honest self-reflection without judgment, acceptance and respect for everything that we find within ourselves, you can get through that wall. It is the fear of finding something that you're not happy with in yourself that stops people from self-reflecting. It is the fear that feeds the negativity. If you notice, in everything I do, I say self-reflect. For myself, I've moved beyond self-reflection into self-reflection with a heavy dose of evaluation. Double checking, am I still thinking neutrally? Or am I getting opinionated? Have I stagnated? Am I closing off and staying with the familiar? Am I still open for additional information? Sir?
We talked about humanity and departments. Are there also animals on this earth that come from different departments?
The original animals on Earth, okay, were from original creations. Maybe a better question would be, if I formulated it this way, would be similar. Are any animals on Earth affected by other departments? The answer is yes. Are they used by other departments? The answer is yes.
Are that also animal departments, or are that, yeah, more humankind departments? Or doesn't matter that?
No, for me, that is sort of my great love, is appreciation for the animal departments. Only the animal departments are below creator level, at least the ones on Earth. There are departments up there that we, if we saw them in form, would think they were animals. So I'm talking about the deer, the bear, the lions, the tigers. They are all under the rule of original creation. With then the creators underneath messing with even them, but they are not in a position to go and let's say create humans. So did I just reveal that there's departments up there that if you saw them, okay. So okay, I mentioned that to them. Oh,
I mean, were you not supposed to mention that?
well, I'm trying to stick with what the question is.
Do they look like animals we know, or is it just not like an animal we know, but we would identify as animals?
We'd identify them as animals. They don't, the ones that I've seen don't look like the ones that are running around here. The ones that are running around here are all my friends. The ones that are look like animals up there, not my friends.
And they are also, they are not friendly, or you're not sure, you don't connect with them?
Oh, I have to have contact with them. Contact is different than connecting with.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be quite safe because not everybody up there took me very seriously, because they always saw me as the spirit child. Slowly but surely, I'm attracting interest. And we do have to remember that it's easier for an energetic being to change form. So they may look different. Connect with them. The conference will let us know, or will let me know, or I don't know. I'm not actually organizing the conference. I'm just being very obedient. And I will try to do what is asked of me. But am I looking forward to making a connection with all of them? No, because I don't really understand them. And some of them are just perfectly okay. Well, some of them are kind of scary, aggressive.
Mm.
Wow, I didn't know we were going to talk about those things, but I guess it's okay. Yeah.
We were talking about animals. There are albino animals, and they get certain meaning of spiritual omens.
Yeah.
In different cultures.
Yeah.
Is it just a genetic anomaly, or is it really an omen or a signal?
Originally, it was just a genetic anomaly. But what happens is human beings are just absolutely amazing, miraculous, beautiful. And what happens is if they take the symbolism and give it a meaning, then that will be the tool that will be used to give people warnings, such as in dreams. So now it's no longer, or actually, since people saw it as an omen, it no longer is only a genetic anomaly. These animals really are capable of carrying a different frequency and also carrying messages. But like, you know, there are some people that are very good mediums, but doesn't mean that all people are good mediums. So not all albino animals are good, what do you call it? Okay, mediums. Animals could be mediums too.
My experience with those animals is that some of them have they know the frequency where are you talking about, but some animals are just animals and genetically different than their other kind.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. So not a straight answer. Not all albino animals are. Although if you see a white buffalo, pay attention. No. Okay.
A lot of people take plants or herbs to work on themselves or to heal themselves. Is it just a biological reaction, or does the plant have a spirit through which it works?
The plant has a spirit, and when that's how I work with herbs and other plants. When I work with herbs for people or for animals, I always ask their permission, and I always tell them the reason why I need them. So for their medicine, and when they agree with me and they give me their permission, then it is a medicine. But there are also plants of the same species, and they are like, no, you can't use me. I don't like it. And then it is for me to respect their answer and to look further. I think it is the same for the vegetables we eat. Of course, we eat vegetables who are grown on farms and in greenhouses. But when you have an harvest in nature, then it is different, because every time I ask the plant, can I harvest you so I can eat tonight? And they say yes or no. But yes, every plant has a spirit, and every plant can be a medicine.
Yeah. Actually, it's three, as Patricia explains, but there's also just a biological, food, nourishment, and what was the other question?
Or do they work as through the spirit of the plant?
That's what Patricia explained. And what was the first one now?
Just a biological reaction of the
Okay,
chemicals.
yeah, so it's all three. But yeah, we've done in earlier years where we feel the vibration of the plant. That's why I'm horrible. When I start seedlings, I can't. If I have too many, I just can't just dump them in the compost. It's sort of like they took the trouble to germinate and try to grow. You just don't throw them away. So then I started giving them to the other gardeners by the garden. But then the side effect is then everybody likes talking to me because they think that, you know, that I get very social. So this year I knew I wouldn't have much time. So I only seeded like a few things. So I feel very strongly about the plants. And I also feel a lot of healing from the plants, even when I don't consume. And each plant is different. Each tree is different.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Patricia. That's wonderful.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
There was a sent-in question. What is special about the moth type Orthosia miniosa?
What?
Or in Dutch, eikenvoorjaarsuil.
Owl?
It's a moth.
It's a moth? I do not know.
And what was the question again?
If there's something special about the moth, the Orthosia miniosa.
I don't recognize its name.
Is it in the chat? Did someone send it in the chat?
From here, they send in.
Oh, because there's a polygemet 2 in the chat. So maybe some.
No.
I think.
Then the chat was just when I was talking to Marita to tell her what the first question was because she missed it.
I think this moth has the same omen of people give the moth as I feel now, the same meaning as an albino animal. I think that's how it feels to me. Maybe when I see a picture, I'm like, oh, I recognize the moth. But
yeah, if you find information, maybe we can share.
I can show a picture, I think.
Yeah.
You want me to?
Yep, please.
1 second. Let's see, where is the moth? That one. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let's see if that works. Host disabled part.
Mark
I can't share the screen.
Mark is fixing
it. Some of them are connected with fairies.
What fairies? Like
elephants.
Oh, fairies! I thought the ferry, like a pond.
No,
like...
no, not the boat.
I mean, they just look like a moth, nothing special. Eikenvoorjaars blood. That's the Dutch name.
Eikenvoorjaars blood.
Does it work now?
It's just a moth.
Does it work, Stefan?
No, I can't. But
it didn't give an option. Share screen.
That's okay.
Now I'm totally curious because you know what was interesting.
Oh, now it should work.
Now it should work. How did you do that?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me share it. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
It's beautiful. Do you know what they are telling me now? They are like, why are you disturbing us?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, this thing is that those people who are able to pick and translate little signs that Mother Nature gives us, they are also capable of bringing about a situation that alerts you that you need to pay attention of something that's coming. And you're right, they're really not too interested in working with people. They're just doing their thing. It's very interesting today. I was at the garden today and I saw a big moth and I decided to catch it because it was going against the window. He couldn't get out because there was a fly screen, mosquito netting in front of the window. Since I'm not very coordinated anymore with my fingers, it took me a heck of a long time to catch it. Arno said, why don't you use a jar and slip a paper? But something told me, no, I need to catch this with my hands. I caught it and let it go. And I said, well, That is kind of odd because that is a fast way. So it's kind of interesting that this question came up. No, it is not this kind of moth. It's just a regular big, huge moth. So, okay.
When people have allergies or intolerances for food or certain aspects of foods, does it have a spiritual perspective?
Anything can have a spiritual perspective. Anything. Whether you should approach it like that, I wouldn't. I'd first, if you're allergic to oranges, don't eat oranges. And then work on yourself as to bringing your system in balance. Because if you're allergic to a natural food, there could be, it could be several things. It could be where it was grown. It could be how it was grown. It could be pesticides, herbicides that it contaminated. So just don't eat that orange and work on cleansing your system and bringing it back into balance. It's an overreaction. Was that yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
So like, is there, I mean, of course the answer could be yes, but generically speaking, if somebody has like many allergies, does that have like some, like spiritual or energetic like background, or is this just how it is?
I would say anything could be spiritual, but that means by somebody consciously working, messing with, sending energy. I would say I'd be more inclined to say to search for an energetic reason, which the energetic reason goes back to the environment, just from what you're exposed to and how your body is reacting. Was that kind of not clear, or did?
That's good enough.
Yeah, that's not the answer Stefan was looking for.
No, but like, I mean, it's okay.
Can
I think
can you use spirituality to correct this? Then the answer is absolutely yes. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to prevent people from thinking that the cause is spiritual.
Yeah, so like, it's sort of like when you come to Earth, it sort of is by accident that you have certain allergies or not.
It may not be an accident. It could be your parents. Could be your parents feed you too many foods that have coloring in them. Could be your parents decided to keep you too clean and didn't have you dig in the dirt, which now is poisonous. So I don't really blame them. But with animals, the normal development of the immune system needs all these things. But people are really raising a lot of children very like septic, which also creates a lot of problems outside, and on top of that, the environment isn't clean. I was born in New Guinea. I don't know how many rocks I put in my mouth. I don't know how many handfuls of dirt I put in my mouth. And we had chickens, deer, a cassowary, all running around with a dog, pooing and peeing everywhere. I'm still alive. Wow. Okay. Too much antiseptic, degermanizing your hands, degermanizing the clothes. It's wiping all of nature's helpers out. That's why I want to stay away. Can spirituality lead to a cure? Yes, but let's not look at a spiritual reason for the problem. That's why.
But that's interesting research. How many of the COVID patients on the intensive care have dogs or cats?
Oh, I thought you were going to say deer or cassowaries.
Or have deers or cassowaries. None of them. That's wrong.
Or giant iguanas eating the chickens. No.
We'll go to the last topic.
Okay.
Is there a heaven and a hell?
Yes, but not as described.
So if you die, you
I think it's even here on Earth.
What?
I just said I think it is even here on Earth.
Heaven and hell?
Mm-hmm.
No. It could be. Depends on where you want to put your hell and where you want to put your heaven. Where do you want to experience hell and where do you want to experience heaven? It doesn't have a set location.
Exactly.
It does not have a set location. It's a state of experiencing. Wow. What if the Christians see this? They're going to get like mad at, oh, well.
Yeah, they're gonna get you anyway. Like,
Anyway.
Heretic.
That brings us to the next question. Did the historical Jesus die at the cross, or was that someone else?
If you guys ask me the next
Look at
question
Stefan.
answer,
It's a
you guys
Stefan
ask me
question.
next
So
question answer, I might answer. That answering that question is going to attract so much attention that is non-productive. I'd much rather look at his life than how he died. And
let's
I'm
make
really
a question on that.
I really am not afraid. I just not afraid anymore. But why set things down that other people, if they hear it, they're going to go into endless negative discussions of, I don't think so. The important part of his life is his life.
yeah, you can also look at the person that made that question, asked that question. Why did that person ask that question? What's the purpose of it? Well, is it just curiosity or is something else behind it? Or is to stir up things?
Well, I guess I could go that far. I tend to take these questions as open and honest questions and take them at face value. Believe you me, once you start looking at people's motivation, you're going to be busy 24 hours 7. So I'm taking a back door on that. Maybe one day I will answer it. But for now, I'm focusing on his life. Not even the miracle of his birth, because that starts a heck of a lot of arguments as well. And I might add, his life as it is presented and as I feel it is very important to me. So for any Christians that are really mad at me now, I'm sorry. So was that it? So now we push the stop record button. I think here, stop recording.